Welcome to the Make Your Brain Happy podcast, hosted by Veronique Cardone, MS, the podcast where you'll learn how to live your life to its fullest potential. This is for anyone who's interested in the science of the brain or wants to seize the power of positive thinking, enhanced mental performance, and a healthy lifestyle.
Hello, this is episode number 10 of Make Your Brain Happy podcast with Veronique. And, for me, it's everything about what you can do to embrace the best part of your life, follow your passion, be happy, but also make others happy. So today I have an amazing array of guests on my podcast, The Bakers for Change, a superpower team of women who have decided to change the world one bake at a time. We are talking about the mission they have accomplished, the phenomenal growth they have encountered, as well as the amazing results they have achieved. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our amazing guests. So let's start with Sophia, Bakers for Change, founder and amazing artist as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm so excited to be on your show, so thanks for having us today. I'm Sophia Chang. I grew up in the Bay Area and I moved to Pittsburgh about 10 years ago. I actually just started baking over the last year when we founded Bakers for Change, so I'm definitely the newest baker of the group, but I'm excited to be a part of the organization.
Kate?
Hi, I am Kate Wakefield. I'm originally from New Mexico, but I moved to Pittsburgh from Nova Scotia about 5.5 years ago. And I've been baking since I was little, but more seriously after my wedding. And then we all connected on Instagram and the rest just came.
Yes. And last but not least, and in all transparency, this person is my daughter, Camille.
Hi, so I'm Camille. I am her daughter, as she just said. I just moved to Pittsburgh 3 years ago, and I moved there I was living in Ireland before that, but I've been baking, I think probably, Mom, you would know better than me, but I've been baking since I was like teeny tiny, so it's always been something that I've done. But it's been really cool because of Bakers for Change. My baking has actually improved a lot, which is a nice added bonus.
So you are three of the founders of Bakers for Change. This organization is a nonprofit that was founded, I think, in July 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. But today, not with us are two other founders, but you were 5 women, Sarah McCloskey and Jessica Bedor. We have discussed about how to pronounce her name before. I'm hoping I'm not doing it wrong. But before we start, I want to ask one of you, because we're going to go from one to the other. How did the idea come about to create Bakers for Change?
I think Kate should field this one because she's the linchpin that holds us all together.
You go, Kate.
So back in April, I started making cakes that said things on them, and they were kind of related to the pandemic. I had one that said let's stay home, or I love you but from 6 feet away, and people were really receptive to that, and it was kind of a fun little outlet when I was stuck at home. And then George Floyd was murdered, and so I made a cake that said keep the momentum. And then I just started as things were getting worse and I was getting more anxious about the election, I just started making more and more cakes with my thoughts and feelings and opinions on them, and it made me feel a lot better. And I was posting about it in my stories and other people were really interested in it. So one day I posted, who wants to rage bake with me? And Sophia reached out, Camille reached out, Jess reached out, and we just started. We were what can we do? Can we raise money somehow? And then we all had a Zoom call, and we had a group chat, and we just started figuring out how can we all take our passions for, social justice and food and baking and do something with it.
And okay, so that's how you started, right?
Yes.
And then what did you do? Or did you have a way to share roles and responsibilities, or everything fell in place like naturally?
I'll start with this one. I
Yeah.
think I was really surprised at how easily things kind of came together. We had a call, we kind of decided the general structure of how we wanted things to look, and then we assigned tasks and made them happen. It definitely took a little while to get our feet under us. So we started our Instagram in July, but we had our first bake sale in October because we needed time to get our website together and decide how we were going to run things. But we've kind of now figured things out. I'm hesitant to say because I don't want to jinx us. We have like a pretty good formula down, and we work as a collective, so we're very non-hierarchical.
Yeah.
You're leveraging everybody's time and talent, right? And it's like it's you work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And what mission? What is your mission? I know you are very into social justice and use baking as a tool because you can message with people, so you can deliver delicious yet very powerful messages. So, Sophia, can you talk a little bit about your mission?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think for me, what's best about Bakers for Change is that we can create tangible, actionable change by raising money, and it's very easily accessible for everyone. So I think that's our mission.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, I guess you had to agree, like, I bet you had, at least in your head, a kind of a mission statement. What do we stand for? Where do we want to put our efforts? I know some of the events, occurred, so you seized them, but I guess you had a philosophy from the get-go. You want to add, yeah? Sophia?
Oh, go ahead, Camille.
I mean, I agree with Sophia. I think our philosophy is we believe in a more equitable society. We believe in rights for marginalized and oppressed groups, and we believe that the individual has more power to enact change than they realize. At least that's something I've learned through this work. So I think our mission was, let's bring people together, let's spark joy through baked goods and food, and let's try and actually make change in communities that need it.
And it's kind of like interesting how it has evolved, because like in the beginning we were like, this is for the election, maybe we'll do a bake sale or two leading up to the election, and it was very much focused on election and voting rights and voting access. And I think it was Sophia who said, like, it would be amazing if we raised $200 and raised awareness, because like the bakes, with the writing on them, like people love them and they get shared a lot, so it's like a good way to just like get people talking and get them thinking. But as we saw how popular these virtual bake sales were, we were like, okay, what else do we want to do? Like, we have this platform, we have this momentum. And that was when we just started discussing like other organizations, other causes. We often poll our followers and ask them like, what would you want to bake for? So it's not even like just the five of us making these decisions. It's like a very collective structure.
Yeah, and this is excellent, Kate, because this is exactly leading me to my next question. Is I follow you, of course. It's to be expected. I was one of your first Instagram followers, and I'm very impressed with what you have accomplished. So let's talk about your accomplishments. And I want to talk about fundraising, your Bakers for Change merch. I use the word merch now, and not merchandise anymore. I'm getting cool. On Bonfire, your baking classes on Zoom. I mean, all the things you have created. So I want to hear all of you speak about one element. So who wants to speak about like the amazing amount of money you have fundraised so far? Sophia?
Yeah, so we're really excited. We just calculated how much we've raised in total over the, I think, 5 bake sales we've done, and we've raised a little bit over $50,000, which is just insane and incredible to think about. This last bake sale was definitely our highest fundraiser so far, and we raised money for a different Asian American Pacific Islander organizations and communities, and we raised a little bit over $27,000, I believe. So yeah, we're really excited. And from the $200 that I was hoping we would raise to now, it's crazy to see the impact. And we're thankful for all the bakers.
So you're very smart, because what you did is you thought about how can we expand or network outside of Pittsburgh and the 5 of us. So Camille or Kate, can you explain to me how you did this? Because I know bakeries were selling to raise money for you in Brooklyn, I bet in California, everywhere in the US. So how did you achieve that?
I hate to say this. I think some of it was purely just luck. I think Kate can talk more about this. Kate's really good at Instagram. So Kate has been really good at resharing and getting people involved, but especially with the last bake sale, we've gotten attention from larger groups, like King Arthur Flour gave us a shout out. Like you mentioned, 4 and 20 Blackbirds, which is like a pretty well-known bakery in Brooklyn, baked for our bake sale. And I would say those things have been just a natural progression as our community grows and people hear about us. So it's been less of us actively reaching out to people. And Kate can maybe talk a little bit more about that because she's our Instagram guru.
But I mean, 50,000 was really raised between October 2020 and March 2021, right? So this is like in a few months only.
Yeah.
And this is pretty amazing. So yes, the queen of Instagram, because you have almost 6,000 followers already, and you have a beautiful Instagram, Bakers for Change. So tell us a bit more about this. What's your strategy there? And also, I think you have some pretty famous followers now.
We do have some pretty big followers. So when we started the account, I went through like my friends list because I have a baking account, and I was just like, anyone who I had seen, posting in support of like Black Lives Matter or, talking about the election, who also baked, I went and followed all of them. And then a lot of it is just like, especially at the beginning, was reaching out to people. Like I sent so many messages to people that I like was Instagram friends with, or like even that I didn't know. And I was just like, we're doing this thing, like you should join us. And beyond that too, it's like you have to kind of like if you want to have a really active community, you have to put in the work as well. Like you need to be reciprocating, like when people are interacting with your posts, like you need to also be interacting within like your community's posts. You need to be commenting, you need to be sharing, you need to be liking, because people notice if you're just not doing that, they're more likely to unfollow you. So like even like throughout the day, like if I have like a spare minute, I'll just log in and scroll through and comment and like just those little things like have really helped us to grow. And then like once we've kind of established kind of a core group of bakers that we originally found mostly by just reaching out to them by direct message, they would start sharing, and then like they would bring their own friends in, and then it just like grew and grew and grew from that. So it's like you really need to like make the effort to reach out to people and like be like we're an organization, but like be a real person and not just sit there. And then I also like think a lot about how our feed looks, and I try and like plan things so that it looks nice, so that
it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. I mean,
thank you.
Yes, it's very it's powerful, but it's also beautiful.
Thanks.
Right? No,
yeah, so I'll send pictures to like Camille and Sophia and be like, what order do you think? And like we'll work on captions, and we just like I want it to look nice in addition to being very like.
Well, but as a baker, you want your cakes and creations to look appealing and delicious. So I'm not surprised you would be also very disciplined about how your Instagram looks like.
And sometimes Kate will tell Sophia and I like, okay, we need this shape or like this color palette. And so like, we'll make something specifically so that we like can fill a spot on our grid.
And so what I admire about what you're doing is that you realize very quickly that you were not going to raise enough money with just you selling your goodies locally, which is a nice way. But you also found a way to not be involved in the donation process, right? So can you elaborate about this? Because in fact, we should make this interview also an appeal to donate to the organizations that are very important for you. I mean, right now, I think you are really focused on what's the AAAJ, or you're right?
Yeah, we were really focused on raising money for Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Asian Law Caucus, but we wanted to keep it open so people could donate to any organization within, an AAPI community. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, of course, Instagram is important, but at the end of the day, our goal is to really raise money and awareness for the causes. So we're really happy to redirect people to donate directly as well.
So for instance, a baker who decides to work with you will sell a special cake and say, for each cake, I'm going to give 10% to the cause or the organization that you are supporting at that moment, right? It changes as well with events or where you want to put your focus, right? You have a plan to support different organizations.
Yeah, so each of our bake sales and the time leading up to the bake sale. So right now we're doing bake sales around every 6 to 8 weeks. And so, for example, from the time we ended our last bake sale to the time of our next bake sale, all of our like merchandise money goes to our next organization. And then our next bake sale will have a specific organization. Our individual bakers can choose to do whatever works for them within the parameters of their community. So I know Sophia and I are really fond of selling treat boxes. Kate is incredibly well known for her beautiful cakes. So she does like an auction for a custom cake. Some of our followers own professional bakeries, and so they'll do either a portion of proceeds or they'll do one specific item and all proceeds go towards something. And then some people just bake for awareness. So we're also really encouraging, because some folks don't live in a community where they have a great network of people who might want to buy their baked goods, but that doesn't mean that they can't support us by baking for awareness or even just helping spread our message. So there's like a ton of different ways to get involved with us and to feel like you're making a difference.
Very smart.
Do like a raffle.
You have raffles too?
Yeah.
How can I participate?
Well,
in fact, I won one of your cakes. It was a banana pudding, I think, that I won, and I got it. In fact, yeah, and it was delicious. But you also have those amazing, and I have one T-shirts and all these, you call them merch that you can acquire on Bonfire. So do you have something to show us, like a T-shirt or something? Bakers for Change on Bonfire.
Yeah, you see sweatshirts.
Yes. And who creates those amazing designs? Who did the logo for Bakers for Change?
So actually, we had some friends that were graphic designers create the original logo, but with the recent merch that we're doing, it's been me creating it based off of everyone else's ideas. So if someone has an idea for merch, they'll let me know and I'll create it on Bonfire. And what's great about Bonfire is that it ships directly, so we don't have to worry about packaging or anything like that. And then once we get any of the profits, we donate it directly to the cause. So yeah.
Another smart way to raise money. Yes. Your smart cookies, no pun intended, right?
And just, I have to plug this because I'm so excited. Everybody should definitely stay tuned because we're doing a special like Pride line of merch that we're going to release towards the end of May. So it's going to be like all new merch. It's all going to be Pride themed. It's going to be incredibly cute. And I'm very excited about it. So
yes, this is amazing. Where are you expecting this? I want to hear the three of you. So Kate, you start. Where are you expecting this?
No. No, I was like in the same boat as like Sophia, being like, oh, if we can raise like a couple $100, like that'd be great. And if we hit 1,000 followers, that would be like awesome. But it's just like continue to like snowball and just get bigger and bigger. And it's just so amazing to see so many passionate bakers just coming together, and I love it.
What about you, Sophia?
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all, but I am very thankful, especially during this last bake sale, to be able to raise money for my own community. I never even dreamed that something like that would ever be possible or tangible. So I'm definitely really thankful. So surprised. I'm surprised that anybody wants to buy my bakes, especially because I just started baking, and Camille and Kate specifically had to give me a lot of tips. I had a lot of questions. So yeah, just thankful in general.
Don't you have a bake to show, because you're going to be on YouTube, with this interview? Do you have anything to show to us?
Yes, I do actually have a cookie. It says Stop Asian Hate and Stop White Terrorism. So I made this. It's posted on our Bakers for Change feed. Sorry,
That's
the board's
gorgeous.
the cookie out. And then I have a cake as well. It's a little bit flat, so don't judge how tall it is. I had fun decorating the top.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Sophia.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you are in fact more like a beginner's baker, right?
I'm an extra beginner. Whatever the most beginner is, that's me.
Camille does not agree.
I don't. Like, look at how much progress you've made. I don't think you're a beginner anymore. You're piping flowers and doing marbled sugar cookies. Come on.
But what is fantastic is each one of you has a different style, not only in the looks, but also you may have some things you prefer to bake. And I know what you do very well also is engage us in all those little polls and questions on Instagram and your stories, right? We can follow you, but also, do you want macaroons next week, or do you want blondies, or what would make you happy next week? Which is a very nice way to get people engaged. You have quite a, I could say, progressive agenda, and you're not shy about it, and you are standing for what you believe in and what you're passionate about. Do you have haters? And how do you deal with haters? Because they are always looming and following you everywhere. So tell us a little bit about that. Who wants to start?
I think Kate's probably gotten the most hate. I'll let Kate talk about her like personal Instagram. Any comments on our Bakers for Change that are racist or hate speech or blatantly sexist or use foul language, we don't engage with those. We report them. We have no patience for those. I think it's normal for some people to have dissenting opinions, and sometimes people will say, hey, we love what you're doing, but we don't agree with the organization that you're supporting. And to that, we kind of say, that's fine. Maybe next bake sale, you'll want to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
We support a lot of different causes. We support causes that we feel really passionately about. And not everybody's going to agree with that. So I think our line is usually, if somebody's being hateful, we don't engage. If somebody's asking a question, then, we'll answer your question.
What about vegan or everything free cooking? Because, as a nutritionist, I have to tell you that as much fights and divisiveness you can have on the political spectrum, you have the same in nutrition. You can get very nasty comments, because you're still promoting eating meat, or you're not such a great supporter of this or that. And what about veganism? Because this is really a rising, trend from a philosophical, but also from a, you have vegan restaurants, vegan everything now. You have
we do have, like, some of our bakers do make vegan bakes. A lot of our bakes are also like naturally gluten-free, like macarons are naturally gluten-free. And it just really depends on where you are and who's baking what. Like, we do get a lot of questions being like, will there be any vegan bakes? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it depends on like who is in your area, like the day of. So it's different. We had a girl in New Mexico that was doing gluten-free cakes and vegan cakes. Like, there's like, it really just depends on the individual baker.
So granted this very recent and not surprising success you had with your efforts, where do you see yourself going And I think when you have a vision or a plan, it's usually you have a 2 to 3 year plan, then you have longer a term plan. But where do you see yourself going within the next 3 years? That's a big question. Big silence.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've kind of talked about this amongst ourselves, and right now the structure and the way that it is running works really well for us because it's very much reliant on individuals and their communities. I think at some point, if we continue to grow the way that we have, we'll probably need to, what would probably make sense is splitting up into like regions and doing chapters, but I don't know that we've necessarily decided that that's for sure the way that we're going to go. I think the most important thing in our 2 to 3 year plan is continuing to encourage like community and community activism. I think that's the most important thing to us. I don't know if Sophia or Kate have anything to add to that.
Kate, I see you ready.
I'm just impressed that we have our next 2 bake sales planned. So, like,
Well, I mean, it's an accomplishment because you all work. I mean, you have a
yeah,
life besides baking and supporting Bakers for Change. So,
yeah. I think
how much time does it take of your day, if you're ready to answer that question?
the Instagram takes up like a considerable amount of my time. I wish it took up less, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, probably one of our sooner steps would be to hire like a social media intern help, because like that's definitely, it's time consuming. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can promote this on this platform, right?
yeah.
Listen, Bakers for Change is looking to hire a social media manager or intern, right?
Also,
Yeah.
like the time leading up to bake sales, it takes up a lot of our time because we have to track everybody who's baking. We have to promote their bakes. Actual bake sale days are like complete chaos because we have to repost everything. And then the week after the bake sale is spent like tallying up the money and tracking down all the bakers. And that doesn't even include all the time and money that we spend on the bakes themselves that we do and sell. So this is very much, I think it's important for people to remember that we're 5 people who have other lives and other jobs. And this is something that we do because it brings us joy, but is not our full-time jobs.
Mhm. Well, a fundraising like you did recently, how many could you do a year? Like 5 or 6?
When we started, we were thinking like every other month, but like the momentum has been so great lately that we're gonna try every 6 weeks.
Okay, so you know where I'm going, because you could be raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for the associations and organizations that you are supporting. You have that power.
Yeah.
We do. And if we reach that point, that would be incredible. And I think we'd have to sit down as a group and decide how we want to use that power, because we definitely don't want to lose our momentum.
Mm-hmm. Have you thought about, in the power of community, there is very often working with other associations. And, you may know I've been a member, an active cooking class instructor and member of the board of trustees of this suppers programs, which is teaching people to eat healthy. So I know about the power of communities and also of, working together. Have you thought about other organizations you would like to work with, or you haven't gone there yet?
Do you mean other organizations that
where you combine your efforts? It's not the ones you are supporting with your fundraising, but another, cooking group or another organization.
Yeah, I don't think that we've really thought about combining efforts with other organizations. That's a really great call out, though, and I think something we can consider. What we have been in the works with is working with other businesses, especially in the local Pittsburgh area, that we have connections with to increase our fundraising efforts.
Mm-hmm. So if you have to describe in a few words how this fulfills you, how does this make you feel like you are living with a purpose and that it's, filling your heart and everything about you with, I'm not going to say the words that I want you to use, but describe in a few words how you feel working for and loving Bakers for Change. Kate.
I mean, it's just like it feels amazing to just be part of this like amazing community. I'm like constantly blown away like by the amount of money we raise, by the amount of bakers that work with us. It's beyond my wildest dreams.
Camille.
I often find it kind of unbelievable in a way. I'm like, this isn't real. There's no way that we've done this in under a year, that we've like grown this community and made this much money. And then usually I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I get to work with people that I love. I'm grateful that I get to use a skill that I have for more than just like fattening my coworkers. And I'm grateful that there are people who like believe in what we're doing and want to do it as well. My like tagline the past couple weeks has been about community activism and like more grassroots organizing. And I think this has been a really cool way of seeing that actually accomplish things.
Yes. What about you, Sophia?
Yeah, I think I've been overwhelmed and also thankful. Living in Pittsburgh for the last 10 years as a person of color hasn't been the easiest, to be honest. I've had a lot of experiences in my professional working life and also just in my regular life that haven't really made me feel necessarily supported. So seeing people come out and step up in such a way has been so rewarding, and I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm. If you had any advice to give to other young people who want to start something and want to support, what is important to them, and start something that's community based, what are the lessons you learned? The do's and the don'ts. What advice could you give to other people who are inspired by you?
I would say just or like one reason like that are we had such a long time between starting Bakers for Change and our first bake sales. We wanted everything to be perfect and just so. And finally we were like, we just have to do it. Like we're just gonna go, and even if it's not perfect. And so like the best thing you can do is just like start, just try it to get going.
Yeah, at one point you have to jump in the water, right?
Yes.
Yes. What about you, Sophia? What's your advice?
Yeah, I think believe in yourself, as cliche as that is, but also don't underestimate social media. I think social media is such a blessing and a curse, but if you utilize it, it can really be a powerful way to make connections. So.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Camille?
My biggest thing would be do this with people that you like and that you respect. Do this with people who are going to be as passionate as you and as invested as you, and who have the same goals as you, and be really clear about what you're trying to accomplish. Because we were very clear that we wanted to accomplish some fundraising and awareness, and then we've vastly exceeded that goal. So we all get to feel pretty great about that.
Do you feel, I think it looks like the way you came together was based on an initial passion. It was not based on, oh, Kate is amazing with Instagram. Sophia is amazing with photographs. Camille is amazing with, I don't know, baking on camera, right? So do you feel like naturally some of your skills and your roles have evolved based on what you like to do more or what your skills are? Like if we had to say Camille, Sophia, Kate, and then also your other partners, do you have like more like a natural role you're each filling?
I think naturally we just gravitate towards some of our strengths. So like Kate is really good at social media and she has a really clear vision of what she wants the feed to look like. Camille is really great at writing captions. I can help make merch, and Jess is really great at running stories. So like the live post the day of, and Sarah's really good at photographing bakes. So I think it all just kind of comes together naturally.
And who is the accountant? The role that's the less exciting, the one where you love to see $27,000, but who is the one following that?
The three of us. It's a lot of spreadsheeting, calculating, using Excel formulas.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting to see? Oh, it was 5,000. Now it's 10.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
15.
so
It's right.
It's so funny. We came into this bake sale. We were getting tons of people reposting us and tagging us and like hyping up that they were going to bake. And I remember saying to Sophia and Kate, I was like, I don't want to jinx us, but like, wouldn't it be really cool if we made more than $10,000 with this bake sale? And we like made $10,000 like in the first 2 days. And then the number just kept climbing. And we were like, oh my God.
I don't know about you guys, but I was checking the spreadsheet like at least every hour.
Do you, by the way, I forgot to ask you this, are you putting your cooking online classes on YouTube somewhere? Can we find your classes somewhere?
So we actually, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
We have, so we're not doing any new classes at this point, but if anyone wants access to our older classes, they can send us an email or a message and they're available, like you can purchase the recordings of them.
Because it would be cool to have some of your, even when you have those stories on Instagram, where, you know, you showed the process you followed to cook this cake or whatever, it would be nice to have some of those on YouTube. Just an idea.
I don't know if we have the bandwidth, pun intended, to also have a YouTube channel, but we'll think about it.
Yeah, that's why we got rid of the classes. Like we just couldn't handle it anymore.
You can handle it. Yeah, you cannot do everything, right? But it's still so impressive. So thank you so much. Unless there is one question I forgot to ask you, but it was an absolute delight and an inspiration to have you on my show. And I want to ask you, I always do this with all my guests, I want to make sure you share where we can find you. So we know you're in Bakers for Change. Don't forget that name. And 4 is not a number 4, it's FOR. So where can we find information about you? So we can follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
We can follow you each individually as you wrote, right? So what is yours, Sophia?
Oh, my Instagram is Sopheating. That's SOPHEATING. And our website,
go ahead.
Is bakersforchange.org.
Okay. And then you can buy your merch on Bonfire, right?
Yeah. So we have a link to our merch store. It's on our Instagram. It's also on our website. And the actual website is bonfire.com/bakersforchange. And we have a couple different kind of like releases of merchandise that are all still available.
Mm-hmm.
And then our Instagram is @bakersforchange, and you can find us there.
What's your Instagram?
I am C Tasty Pastry. So it's CTASTYPASTRY. That's my Instagram.
And you, Kate?
I'm Kate Bakes. So KAIT_bakes.
Okay. Well, you know, thank you so much for being on Make Your Brain Happy. You made my brain happy today, and you make a lot of brains happy with all those concoctions that people can see or eat. And also, I think my philosophy in life is I cannot be fully happy if I don't feel everybody has a chance to be happy. And that starts with loving everybody and respecting everybody. So congratulations on your mission. I'm very, very proud of all of you. It was a delight to finally meet you. And I hope I'm going to interview you again, maybe in 1 year when you will have raised $500,000. I think you are capable of that. Thank you so much. Thank you
so much. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Make Your Brain Happy podcast. This episode was recorded by Veronique Cardone and produced by HG Media. If you enjoy our podcast, please share it with your friends. You can find our podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts.